There's a place called a gin mill way down in the slums. There's a place called a gin mill way down in the slums. My baby goes that night and stays till the morning comes.
All right, how we doing tonight?
Doing good, sir. How are you? That
Good.
was a rather subdued intro. Come on, man.
It was. Welcome to the Blind Pig Confessions. It's Tuesday night.
We're missing one of our normal guys, who Cowboy. He's usually very upbeat.
Hence the name, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's Tuesday night, but it's actually Friday night when you hear this. But either way, it doesn't matter. So we're somewhere new tonight. Somewhere we've
ha.
Yeah, that's
New.
funny, right?
Sorry.
Somewhere we've actually never been. And I got to say, this is the most colorful flight I've ever had in front of me.
I'm busy sucking on a slushie. Sorry.
Yeah, you're excited over there. That's good stuff. I tried that, man. That thing's good. So we are actually at New Day Meadery in Fountain Square.
Hello.
Is it New Day Meadery or just New Day Craft Mead and Cider?
New Day Craft is kind
Okay.
of what we go by now.
Yeah.
New Day Craft. Okay, so we're at New Day Craft. Sorry. So would you like to introduce yourselves for the show?
Sure. Yeah, we're New Day. I'm Tia Agnew.
And I'm Brett Canaday.
Ooh,
So
there we go.
you have a little history about where we got the name
Now
from.
we don't even have to ask you where the name came from.
Dun-dun-dun.
So we are joined by the owners. And then, of course, we've got Polly G here tonight, Jordan, and our security guard, Griswold.
How's it going?
Good. How's it going, man?
Pretty good.
Yeah, glad you could join us tonight.
We got to keep the people at bay.
We joke about
All
him.
our fans.
Yeah, we joke about him being our security guard
I
because
love it.
nobody's going to mess with him when he's around.
So
So,
far, so good. We're safe.
I feel so much better.
so tell us how you guys got started.
Where should we begin?
Oh, and many moons ago.
So
That always
we just, I guess, have celebrated our 12th year anniversary.
Open to the public.
Open to the public.
Yeah.
We started the business in 2004. It was kind of our New Year's resolution to ourselves to file the Articles of Incorporation right after the first of the year in 2004. Found a place to start our business venture in mid-2004. Started build out, filed our permits, all those types of things.
All the fun stuff of being a business owner.
2005, we actually acquired our permit, started our first production batches, and early 2006 released our first batches to the public. So I guess 11, 12 years technically.
Nice.
That's how
But
long we've been in business.
As to why we decided to start a mead and cider, well, at that time, New Day Meadery, hence the name, still our legal name, and then switching off to ciders. But we, I have two pat answers. I first like to say it was a hobby gone terribly wrong. Brett and I used to be amateur beekeepers.
Okay.
Lived up at his family's farm. I married a sixth generation cute farm kid right here. So I've been in the that farm's been in the family since it was homesteaded. And so we were living there, keeping bees, because we're nerds and we really dig bees. And so we were,
Hippies.
Totally.
dude, we met in college. I can tell you stories. Let me tell you off the air.
The ones that we can
Wait
remember.
about a half. Once we get through the rest of this flight, don't worry, you'll say it on the
It'll be
air.
just fine. But we were keeping bees, and us, we're both scientists. That's both our backgrounds. So we don't do anything halfway. So we're keeping bees. We started with 10 hives, had 500 pounds of honey.
Goodness.
What the hell are you going to do with all that honey, right? So we can't eat it all, can't sell it all. And so we started making booze because why not, right? We realized it was mead after we had done some research. And both of our careers, we've lived and worked all over the country. Both of our careers had brought us back home to Indiana. We were tired of moving around, but once or twice, every couple of years. It gets old after a while, so we were looking to start our own business. And we combined Brett's food science background and our combined love of honey and alcohol.
I was going to say, the alcohol's got to be in there.
Yeah, totally. And started New Day Meadery. And now we debated it as New Day Craft as we started doing the hard ciders.
Right. Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So coming from a craft beer background that I've been in for the last few years, mead is a little less popular, or I shouldn't say popular. Mead is a little less
Understood.
well known than beer. Is that correct?
We're the dark horse of the alcohol industry, for sure.
It is a little bit. I think historically it's argued to be the oldest fermented beverage known
Right,
to
that's
human
what I was gonna say.
civilization. It's I think probably it fell out of favor over time based on it's difficult to raise honeybees, and it's an expensive product.
Honey is not cheap
compared
people.
to grains or even other fruits. It's definitely an expensive fermentable sugar. So I think probably over time it fell out of favor for those, for that being one reason. So we're pretty excited to be part of the the resurgence of mead. It's exciting. A lot of unique styles that you can make mead in.
For sure. Yeah, that's for us. I mean, I might be jumping subjects, but that's what we geek out about it, because there's, aside from, TTB rules, there's no like style rules when it comes to mead making. Wine categories are like, here's your Chard, here's your Cab, here's, very, very strict. In the beer world, of course, a lot more experimentation, but even still, the stout has got to have some parameters. Mead, it's like, what do you do with it?
There's judging standards. There's
exactly.
You have to fall within a category.
Yeah.
Is there not a
There are
board of mead styles?
There are.
Okay.
I think, beyond that, though, there's a perception that people have about mead. People tend to think honey, they think sweetness.
That it's a one-trick pony.
They think that you might need to wear a Viking helmet and drink it before you raid the village.
No, there's nothing
that's
wrong
grog.
with that. You're right.
And those are certain styles, and there are hundreds of different styles. And I think just like the craft beer world maybe sometimes steps outside of the BJCP rules,
Yes.
we can do that as well
a
in the
lot.
mead category.
Yeah.
And I think craft beer drinkers are where our fans tend to come
totally.
from.
Absolutely.
So we caucus with the breweries. We go to their festivals. We hang out with brewers. And really the only difference is we have a farm winery permit or a wine permit with the federal government. So that's really the only difference based on the ingredients that we use to make what we make.
So I was going to say mead originally, to me, makes me think of like the medieval times.
Yeah,
Right? They were drinking mead out of the big giant.
Way before that. It's actually argued to be the oldest alcoholic beverage. And probably the whole historical guess is that historic peoples had they would collect water in stomachs of animals, and as they emptied that, they'd come across a wild beehive. They'd put the honey in there. Well, honey, in order to ferment, you have to add water to it to get down to enough a sugar level where it'll ferment. And they got really happy on that water. So that's the whole like premise where they think that mead got started, just by very happy accident. But yeah, and so
Happy cavemen.
But and then there's Tej in Ethiopia, which is still made and drink today, which is a form of mead, a spiced form of mead. But when we think Beowulf. We think, medieval times, we think Vikings, and there's still that lore is, connected to it. But yeah, and we kind of take that, our philosophy is take a very much more of a modern focus. We want to make it super approachable, really fun. We do, as you guys already know, whole barrel aged line. It's carbonated, it's super easy drinking, sometimes too easy drinking. With fruits and with hops and with spices and coffees and all sorts of weird stuff. So we definitely kind of take more of that cavalier approach to it.
But there certainly is that history,
that deep history for
that
sure.
people are familiar with. Yeah.
Right. See, like drinking this, I have no problem if I need to put on like a big fur coat and I've had to get myself a big giant chalice and
so
drink it out of here and beat down. I can do that.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm okay with that
because there's a lot of bald Vikings.
I don't have to be a Viking. I can be like a medieval. I don't know,
So
medieval lord.
You look like Clark. Clark looks like a big.
He could be a medieval lord. He really could
be. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I'm okay with
Not that the listeners can. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
I think you're right on some of it, though, on some of the image, and I will certainly say for myself, there's a hesitance to some of these to trying some of these, especially like ciders and things.
Sure.
It's too sweet for me. I can't drink a lot of it for a long period of time, whereas I can probably drink more beer than I can meads and ciders for a longer period of time, just because of the sweetness factor. But done right and mixed right, there's horrible beers out there though that are just way too sweet.
Oh, I was just going to say,
I can't finish those. I
Yeah.
can have maybe a small sample of it, and then it's like, no, I know I can't drink a whole glass of that.
Yeah, like some of our meads are actually less sweet than a typical stout. Yeah.
This one, the Which one was this one called? The one that had the two
The
hops?
Rethinker?
The Rethinker.
Yeah, that's a classic example of a
Yes.
nearly bone
It's got the
dry.
great blueberry
Yeah.
flavor.
Yep.
You can actually taste both hops in it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very clean.
Right.
So
that's a drier style too.
right,
Yeah.
and I'm not a sweet drinker either.
Right,
so for
right.
me, this is perfect because I could
I
drink
I
these
can drink that all day long.
all day,
Yeah.
just like I
Yeah,
could a
yeah.
beer
Yep.
without hesitation.
Well, I think it satisfies both your beer side for your hops, you know, and lets you experiment with, because traditionally we're not big fruit beers either.
Sure.
Because if they do it wrong.
You
It's
know,
it's an
we don't-
extract of
we don't
something
like
rather
to
than the
say
natural
wrong.
stuff. Well, they
Yeah.
do it they're
In a-
using extracts and
flavorings and extracts. And,
yeah, whereas if you're using
yeah.
regular fruits and things
Right.
and you
It
let
makes
that
a huge difference.
shine through, it's a little easier and
I
it's a
think-
better palate.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's one of the things that sets us apart. We use whole fruits. We don't use concentrates. We don't use juice. We don't use purees. We don't use flavorings. So we're looking for the true expression of the fruit and honey, which I think you can see that there.
definitely pulls through. So our brewers that do use extracts, the problem is getting it tweaked to where that extract doesn't taste like candy.
Like right.
Yeah.
And it's not just sickening sweet.
Sure.
But you still use enough to actually get a fruit flavor out of it. And I've seen some brewers that have been successful using extracts, but over
Yes.
time, and it's taken a lot of expertise to get just the right
And some of
drop
them you
and a
need
half
it.
or whatever it takes.
And some of them you need that because you need that concentration of the flavor to get past all the rest of the ingredients of the beer to really let it shine through. Or natural fruit might not let that happen, in a beer world. Whereas this, you can actually fully develop all the flavors from the actual fruit.
Sure,
in my
yeah,
opinion,
definitely.
I could be wrong.
And there's some
I am new
brewers-
to me.
Point. No, that's a
and
good
stuff,
point.
so-
Yeah.
There are some brewers that they use the flavorings just to cover up imperfected beer too.
Well, yeah, that's true too.
We've seen that happen, and then we're like, ooh.
But sometimes it works out. Sometimes
Yeah,
they're able to.
sometimes you're
Sometimes
like-
they can salvage it. It's
So
not
once in a while
always-
you don't know till they tell you, and then once in a while you're like, ooh, were we
What
trying
is-
to cover something up here because something's not right?
I'm assuming in your 12 years you've had a few of those. What ends up?
Not a lot, but
What
we
ends
have,
up being the flavor? So we can tell when a beer's bad because it's
Oh,
usually
sure,
like
yeah.
apple. You get or it tastes
Apple,
like cleaning
olive.
fluid or
Right, right.
something.
Well, I'll tell you
what
this
is a
much.
bad mead?
You won't ever taste a bad mead from us
Well, of
because
course.
we don't release them. No, I mean because
Good.
there's no one's perfect. It's a natural
Yes.
process. In 12 years, you might get a wild fermentation or something weird happen. Guess what? Those don't make it to. Those don't make it
is
to,
it
to commercial.
Is mead salvageable?
depends
if they get a
on
bad batch?
depends upon the level of the fuck up.
Well,
We
yeah,
can say that,
definitely.
can't we? Okay, good.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever had some like maybe you stay at home and you experiment with it trying to salvage it, and you don't release it obviously because it was
Sure.
a mess up. It's not up to the standard
Right.
you want. But have you ever tried like playing around with it after it seems to have gone bad? And at
Yeah, I mean,
home?
it kind of depends upon the issue. We've only had a couple
Yeah, it's been
batches that we've ever not released, and there was nothing that we could do with them.
No,
They
we're
were
like,
they
nope.
were beyond salvageable.
Yeah.
So
And that's really our philosophy. Really high quality ingredients goes in. We're fortunate that Brett is a food scientist with R&D. Is his specialty. So this is right up his alley. You've been doing this for 12 years, also. And attention to detail. People.
Right.
I'm digressing a bit, but people always say, "Oh, it must be so cool to own a mead or mead and cider or be a brewer." I'm like being cold and wet.
Yeah.
Because it's
yeah.
99% clean. You got to clean, you got to prepare, you got to make sure you got your shit together.
we pretty much say 99%
Yeah.
preparation, 1%
Yeah.
inspiration. I mean, we clean.
Oh
that's
my God.
all we do is
You're cold
clean
and wet. That's
stuff.
all you are.
Yeah, so-
But because of that level of detail and Brett's level of scrutiny, that's one of the big reasons why we haven't had a whole lot of problematic batches.
Well, that's great.
And we've done some homebrewing on our own, and we'll face it, we've
Oh, yeah.
had some batches that we were like, oh dear God, what the hell did we do?
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah.
It's part
there
of
was
it.
no way
And-
to save it.
Sure.
And we prefer to make mistakes on 5 gallons at a
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
in a
Right.
trial
R&D,
batch.
R&D
And
always
so
starts at the 5 gallon
anytime
level. Yeah.
we
Even
come
now.
out with a new variety, we always start with same size
Yeah,
you guys
absolutely.
started
Yep.
with 5
Yep.
gallons, and we've certainly had have had plenty of those that never made it to any commercial level of production.
That was a great idea, and that was not good. That did not ferment well. Nope. Cantaloupe tastes like cat pee. Got it. Okay, that's my classic example.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, we understand. Like, we had one beer that we actually, our friends at Redemption picked up the recipe and brewed it for us at their site.
Cool.
So we had our name on a beer up there,
Right
which was
on.
just fun for
That's
us.
super cool.
And then we've had a couple beers that they weren't good. We knew it. We weren't,
Yeah.
Our buddies would be like, "Hey, let's try it." We're like,
Nope.
"Not this one.
Like,
not
nope.
happening.
You're not allowed.
We're
Yeah.
a little embarrassed about this one." So we tried it, and then it went right into the ground.
And no need to be embarrassed about that. You don't learn if you don't
unless you
fuck
Yeah.
shit up because you
Exactly.
didn't push yourself. You didn't push your envelope.
Exactly, and we learned that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
just.
I like the exploding
It
beer.
is what it
I
is.
liked our exploding beer bottles. Those were
Oh,
awesome.
those are exciting. We call those frizzantes in the industry.
Yes, we learned that
Bottle conditioned.
Made champagne,
Yes,
yeah,
very
right.
nice.
Yeah,
there is a
not-
fine balance when you're trying to carbonate bottles.
Priming.
Oh God, yes.
Priming
And if you don't get it right, you can make little bottle bombs
Oh, yeah.
and not even mean to.
Definitely.
That's so fun.
You touch it to the table and just.
Watch out for the priming sugar.
Yeah.
Gotta go easy on the priming sugar.
But for us, it was a learning experience from
Sure.
going out to breweries and stuff. We felt like we couldn't talk on their level, and we're like, how can we get more knowledge? And we're
Just
like,
make
let's
some batches,
do this
Man,
ourselves.
that's serious credit to you guys, man. That's
Yeah, that's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's what we did.
Right on.
So for those, I know we've kind of danced around it, and people have heard some of what the ingredients are. But for those who don't know,
Oh, sure.
Right.
what is mead?
Of course.
There you go.
Yeah, so mead by definition is a fermented beverage made with honey. With that, you can go any number of different ways. You can make it dry, you can make it sweet, you can add fruits, you can add spices, you can barrel age it, just really anything you want to do to it. By governmental regulations, we can't use any malts or grains.
Okay.
Like, at all.
That's really
Because that would turn it to a
it's a
beer,
beer.
correct?
Yeah, if we basically
It's federally
breweries have
prohibited.
to have 51% malts
Grain, yeah.
malts or grains. We can't have any.
Any zero.
So basically, any fermentable sugar source other than malts or grains is pretty much open to
Okay.
us.
So just for clarification, does that include things like rice, corn?
no grains.
Yeah,
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 even
we
though
can't use that either.
they consider that a grain.
They do. So not
Yeah.
just malts or
Right.
barley.
No.
It can't be
Any-
any grain.
not-
None.
I mean, Zippo,
No,
Zilch,
Okay.
nothing.
no
That's-
quinoa ciders.
No,
No,
we
sir.
can't do that,
No,
no.
sir.
Because I know a lot of people, they don't use the malt or the barley. They'll throw in the wheat. They'll throw in the
Sure,
corn.
sure.
They'll throw in the
Yeah.
rice
Yeah, we can't use any of it.
to supplement.
I had a
No.
quinoa whiskey once, and it was awful.
That's fascinating.
It was awful.
So
It tasted like dirt.
is
Oh, that's so sad.
No, it was. I felt bad because it was so earthy. It was just like
So not like
Wow.
scotches or
no. It was a
Bummer.
quinoa whiskey. It was just like man, no.
wow. So is mead gluten free? I'm guessing
It is.
It is.
Yeah.
Everything we produce is
Everything we
gluten-free.
make is,
See,
yeah.
Absolutely.
that's very good because
And-
we do have some people that enjoy craft beer. They have to be very careful about what they
Of
drink.
course, yeah. Yeah,
So mead would be a good place for them to look.
Absolutely.
Well,
Yes.
especially if you're throwing in hops into the mead,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
kind of get that same.
Totally. Hops are not a grain at all. They're actually in the same family as marijuana.
Oh well, that's true. I knew that.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes they stink like chronic. Not that any of us know what that smells like.
Yeah, so basically we can use any ingredient
Yeah.
that you use in beer except
any grains. Yeah. So but that's a common thing. People will associate hops as a grain because it's in beer. And I'm like, no, it's a flour. We're good.
Okay.
Absolutely good. Yeah, just like any
Yeah.
spice.
and
like
I
any
shouldn't have
spice.
said that because I know better, but I thought I was saying it along
It's
the same lines,
okay.
but they're not.
It's a good.
You're
no,
right.
honestly,
What's
it's a
wrong with
great
you?
It's a
thing to
good point. Yeah,
reinforce
it's a
because
good
we
point to
get
go
that
over.
all of the time.
Yes,
all
hops
of the time.
is a flower.
Yeah.
You should know better than that.
I know. I'm such an ass.
Whatever.
He was testing us, Tia. He was
So-
testing
I
us.
love it.
What did I
Anyway,
miss? I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. Let's
Look for Roberto.
just go ahead and take a quick break here, real
Yeah.
quick, and then we'll come back and we'll get Roberto on with us.
Hey, this is Colin,
And David.
and we're with Taxman Brewing, and you're listening to Blind Pig Confessions.
All right, so we took a quick break because Tex-Mex finally showed up to join the show. So welcome,
Bienvenidos, aquí
Tex-Mex.
estamos con los cielos.
There he
blues.
goes again.
Oh, sorry. I ain't even
I love
started
it.
drinking yet.
Why are you sorry?
Man. I guess, no, I was drinking at home.
Uh-huh.
When am I not ever drinking?
Drink alone.
When you're sleeping.
Just enough.
So we got to learn a lot about meads, and they make some of their meads with hops. So the question was brought up about hops and not being able to use barley or malts.
Okay.
Hops is a flour, so that's why they're able to use that one.
Oh, that makes sense.
Very cool. So that's kind of where we ended off, though. We learned about mead, what it is, and about the different products that they use in it. So when they say no grain, that's no corn, no rice, no nothing.
So
No quinoa. Don't use
no
quinoa.
quinoa. I said
Quinoa. I like quinoa because I think of gambling.
Nice.
So you see where my brain goes? It goes right to gambling.
Loser.
I love it.
So question in the process, though, and we're going to sample a one. Well, actually, let's sample, then we'll come back to
Sample.
process.
Yeah.
Turn your flight
Drink.
around, though, so you're
Yeah.
drinking with us.
Turn it around.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
You're right, Roberto.
Roberto, you were correct.
There you go.
So we
All right,
start.
where
Are
are
we
we
starting
going
with the
first?
lighter colored
yeah,
one?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to steal the notes here. Thank you very much. All right.
So we
I'm
know
like-
what we're drinking.
So
She
yeah,
has
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
to do. She
I'm like, dude,
can't remember all of it.
So we're going right down the list. We're going to start with Shelby Blue Ribbon. It's
Okay.
a strawberry rhubarb mead. We go in order of intensity, not sweetness level or alcohol content. So this one's nice and light. It's actually one of our better year-round sellers. People really dig it.
What
It's-
is the average ABV on these?
Sure. On the year-rounds, like this one, we keep it at 6. Not nothing too crazy, but very easy drinking. And then we start getting to the specialties, to the barrel-aged stuff, and goes up to over 14%.
Yeah.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
figured
and
nobody would complain.
technically you could make it super
Yeah.
low. You could
Yeah,
make
yeah.
it, 1
Right.
or 2% if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
wanted to.
Very similar to beer in that fashion.
For
there.
sure.
Yeah.
The way we choose to craft it,
Right.
that's very calculated on our part, very intentional on our part, for sure.
Because you have in the craft beer world, you have your all day drinkers.
Yeah, exactly.
Up to your
Yep.
small snifter sippers.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
it's very similar in how you guys can do that alcohol content.
Definitely.
thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely.
Now,
And
is
it's
that-
all based on how we formulated
Yeah.
in the beginning.
Right.
So it's all about how much you how
Honey
much
start
honey
with.
you add
Yeah,
into
absolutely.
it,
Exactly, yeah.
and then how
Totally.
much fermentable sugar you get and your gravity and all that stuff. And kind of
Exactly.
calculate that out in the
Yeah,
beginning.
It's all the same. Really process-wise, we're kind of like a winery on the front end of the process. We don't actually brew like a brewery does. We don't use heat. When you're brewing a beer, you're actually using the heat to extract the sugars
Right.
Yeah.
during
Right.
the brewing process. Well, honey is completely soluble in water without heat. So we don't use any heat. We don't have to use any heat. So in that regard, that part of the process is completely different.
Okay.
So once fermentation is done, then we kind of morph ourselves into a brewery. So we have a bright tank that we carbonate in. We have keg cleaner, keg filler, all.
So
those
your
things.
yeasts, though, what do you use? I mean,
We
the brewery world's got all kinds of yeast. and
Same-
it all
same for
does the
us.
same. Are you
Yeah.
using the same like brewers type yeast?
We use both beer yeast and wine yeast.
Okay.
So we use a little bit of both. I would say our house yeast that we use the most is a wine yeast.
Okay.
So there are some varieties that you might pick out some wine-like characteristics.
Well, that's what I was saying. This it seems to be, or at least in my mind, it's kind of a middle road. It's a fine line between wine and mead and then even beer. It's
Sure.
all ingredients
Sure.
and I guess order.
Right.
Right.
Because you can brew your wine, you're just doing grapes. I guess you could add honey to your wine afterwards.
Sure. Yeah.
And I'm just thinking out
you
loud.
could make
I-
a grape mead
Totally,
and ferment
yeah.
grapes and honey together too. So,
So
which is a lot of
crazy.
what we use are fruit meads.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
what you just tried was a strawberry rhubarb mead. So that's whole strawberries, chopped up rhubarb, honey, and water. Those are the main ingredients.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
just sitting in a tank with
Yeah,
yeast
so
for
we-
how long?
Typically,
Typically.
anywhere from 3 to 6 days, kind of depending upon the fermentation.
That's what primary.
With whole fruit like that, then we actually take the fruit out and press it in a fruit press. Like brewers would get rid of the spent grain.
Sure.
We kind of have that similar situation where we have to get that out of the
Okay.
batch. So we put it into a fruit press, a press that's very similar to a grape press. Then from there, we're off to the races. Some of the varieties we back sweeten with a little bit of honey to bring the residual sweetness up to where we want it to be.
In secondary or
balance-wise.
something? In a secondary?
We don't.
You have a secondary or?
We don't.
Okay.
No, we stabilize it through a cross-flow filter,
Okay.
and then goes directly to the bright tank.
So when you do hop additions, you're always dry hopping.
We are, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, since there's no boil, we're not doing anything during that. What would be the equivalent of that part of the process in the brewing?
So that's why the one that I tasted, which is probably on here, isn't it?
The Rethinker,
Yeah. So that's why it pulls so much of that hop flavor through, but there's none of the bitter to it.
Exactly.
Because it's all dry hopped without any of the
You're going to get
heat.
more of the aromatics and
Right.
those
Right.
types of personalities with the hop rather than the astringency or the bitterness from the
bitterness.
hops. Yeah.
And we want that too because again, there's nuance and delicacy, delicate notes within a fruit and with honey. We don't have to pummel the hop to I don't want to say mass, but to overcome the kind of the intensity you'll get from grain. I know I'm short. Thank
you're
you.
fine.
Okay,
No.
good. There we go. I'm short, people. Face isn't close enough to the mic. And so, but it kind of it just really blends well. Like having all those notations that you get from the hops that maybe you don't always get in a beer, we get to express in the mead, which is really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I like it.
Because the hops definitely pull through. I'm excited to get to that one. So but we got to talk about this
Again.
one first. So
Okay, yeah. Shelby Blue Ribbon.
the Blue Ribbon. So very light, very crisp, all-day drinker. Again, not a sweet person, not sweet. Love it.
Yeah, exactly. There's alcohol on this.
There is.
6%, my friend. See what I meant by really easy
I
drinking?
tasted that and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
I could totally just pass this off to the wife and I'm like, yeah. Because my wife doesn't drink beer. She's not into craft beer. She's not into beer, period. She'll drink a beer with me. She'll do like a Mike's. Or she'll do something with flavor, which I don't call beer. But I think she would totally dig on this.
We consider ourselves the peacemakers. My craft beer drinkers dig us, of course. My, folks like your wife, who maybe aren't into beer will really dig us. Like, everybody is happy. We make everybody happy.
My wife's the exact same way.
Yeah.
I'll say, hey, honey, try this.
No.
Now, see, here's
Do you have a beer without hops? No.
Amy my wife thinks everything tastes like beer.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. It doesn't matter how fruity the beer is. Nope. It still tastes just like beer. And I'm like, really? I don't taste any beer in this. How can you taste beer in this?
That's funny.
Kind of our approach is it's all about what you enjoy.
Right, exactly.
If there's something in our portfolio, in our lineup that you don't like, that's
I know,
totally fine.
I always say, man, it's booze for Christ's
but we
sake.
make
Just
a
enjoy
lot
it,
of different
Don't
styles.
worry about it.
We make a lot
Yeah,
of
we
different
do.
styles. Some are sweeter,
Yeah.
some are drier, some are bourbon barrel aged, and some people don't like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Do we have a bourbin barrel age in here or no?
Is that
gonna be our other-
in the bottles, we'll crack
open a
open,
couple
yeah,
here
yeah.
in a minute.
So where are we going next?
We're going
What's
to
next on our
this is
journey?
Washington's Folly. This is a tart cherry mead. It's made with a Balaton cherry, which has the acidity of a pie cherry and the body and sweetness of a Bing. So it's a really fun cherry. And it makes a beautiful red pink mead. It's delicious.
So this to me tastes like a champagne because of the dryness in it.
Sure.
It tastes like a champagne with a really nice touch of cherry to it.
Cool.
Yeah, right on.
That's just,
Kinda
that's
what we're
kind of the
going
flavor
for.
profile I
Yeah.
get from it.
I taste a rosé.
Fabulosa. I love it. Right on.
No, I'm just kidding.
But no, I think it's really good. And again, not overly sweet. So
I think the noses are very deceiving on both of these because they're not. I'm not tasting what I'm smelling.
Yeah,
Yep,
you
that's
get a
very
lot
typical,
of
yeah.
And
aromas sometimes that will make you expect this to be a really sweet cherry, and then you get something that's refreshingly dry or very drinkable on the palate.
Well, when you're doing the craft beers, and usually when these guys hear tart or sour,
Yeah.
they won't
Sure.
touch it.
Right.
I like it. Well, no,
We'll try
You
it.
curl, yeah, but you guys usually curl your nose at most tarts and sours.
I do.
I'll
Pretty much,
drink
yes.
them.
I'll admit.
My
I'll
favorites.
admit.
Well, but some of the beer tarts that that I've had, they're a
There's
little
tart
harsh.
in their stomach
There's
acid.
a lot more. Yeah, there's a lot more tartness. This is very good. It doesn't have that horrible bite at the jaw that you get from
Sure,
some of the-
yeah.
when it's way too tart.
Yeah.
No, this has it's very well balanced, and I love that nice finish, clean, not over. My mouth doesn't feel sticky.
Yep.
Sure. Yeah,
I think
that's
one
what we're going
misconception
for,
about
yeah.
mead
Yep.
with being
Yeah.
made with
Yep.
honey is that you're going to have if you take a spoonful of honey, your mouth is like
Right.
forever sticky, almost like a peanut butter sticky.
Yeah.
But your mead is not that way.
What kind of honey are you eating?
If you put
It dissolves in like 5 minutes. What are
No,
you
it
eating?
does not.
That honey went bad then.
Honey never goes bad.
So
You
very,
left it out in the cold, and
What
you're
you been
trying to
doing
eat it
with
after
it,
it's
Jordan?
cold.
very, very fresh honey. If you take a teaspoon of that, is it not very sticky?
Oh, it's very viscous.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
the viscosity in honey.
Thank
Thank you.
Okay. Well, I've eaten honey too, but
Very
it doesn't-
fresh honey. I said.
I don't really. I don't. Yeah, no, I've had that too.
But people do assume it's going to be this really sweet, lingering flavor,
very
and
viscous.
all what you're just describing it's the balance, the clean finish. That's all very intentional on the style that we make.
Good. No,
we
that's
want it to
awesome.
be, probably we talk about the base tenet of our business is, of course, the quality of ingredients, like we talked about. The real attention to detail on the production end. The cleanliness. The replicability, all that stuff. But also, it's balance. The alcohol balanced with this, the sugar content, sweetness level balanced with the acidity. And so Brett's just a master at that. I'm bragging on you, baby. He's a master at that. And like you talked about that first one, it's technically a 7% on the, they don't talk RS, it's a wine term, but residual sugar scale, which is a higher, but it doesn't taste like it because it's got high acid from the oxalic acid from the rhubarb. So they counterbalance and it comes off nice and clean and dry.
That's awesome. Like on the way here,
Told you we were science nerds.
Griswold was like, dude, are we going to a cider place? And I go, well, they have cider, but they have mead too. He goes, what's mead? I said, well,
Yeah, I didn't know.
I'll
Yeah,
talk,
yeah,
we'll
it's
talk
common.
about it when we
Yeah,
get there.
it's
He's
very
like,
common.
am I going to end up punching you after this? I go, no, I'm telling you, man. I've at least had their magpie
You're
before, and I
gonna
know
hug
it's
us.
good.
You're gonna hug
So,
us.
So there was correct me if I'm wrong. There was mead before there was beer, correct?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah. Totally.
and we talked
Yeah.
about in the beginning that
Yeah.
it is, they say that it's believed to be the oldest known alcohol.
Okay.
And we know it from like the medieval times.
Yeah.
Big chalices, the king sitting up there,
Correct.
Yes.
You go to
The
any
medieval
wench.
times
Yeah.
and all that
yeah,
stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
totally. Yeah,
I
yeah.
still don't get. I still don't have that picture in my head. I keep trying, and I'm like, I don't associate mead with that. I never have.
They always associate
grog,
mead with that.
yes, but mead, no. I just my mental association with mead was never like
Oh,
that.
that's
it's
what
just-
I've always
no,
heard it
that's
as.
fine.
yeah.
Grog was always, I was always, give me some grog,
Yeah, yeah,
give
yeah.
me, and it's a big burly Viking guy or something, but that's usually what I
That's
was.
just because you like big burly biking guys.
This is true.
All right.
Podcast for another
So,
time.
Yeah.
you had said you guys have started out with as beekeepers. Are you still using? Do you still use your bees and your honey, or
we knew very quickly that
Yeah.
there was no way in hell that we would produce enough
Oh my
honey to be able to supply us with what we needed.
Yeah.
So we decided very early on that it would be best to let beekeepers be the
Professionals,
experts
yeah.
and let us be professionals in the mead world.
Right.
Are your bees local?
We've kind of outpaced our ability to get
Right.
all Indiana honey, so
all right.
we
But
use
But
regional.
that's just within the last, 2,
couple
3
years,
years?
yeah.
So
but it's
we-
still regional farms? It's
Yeah,
not
so-
like you're not going to Kroger.
no,
It's-
yeah. So
it's Midwestern wildflower honey.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Costco. You got to get a few gallons at a time. I get a
Yes.
few I need a drum, please, of honey.
Oh, we're at the tote level.
yeah,
What's
so
a tote?
so it's
3,000 pounds
we use about 4,500 to
Holy
6,000 pounds of honey a month.
a month.
That is so
a month,
much
my dears.
fucking honey.
You know how many little bees have to,
That's
do
a lot.
that? Yeah, it's not happening.
That's a lot of bee
Yeah,
saliva.
it's a lot.
a
So
lot of bee poop. Nobody wants to say it's bee poop.
it's bee puke,
vomit.
actually.
Actually, it's bee
Puke
vomit.
yeah.
Oh, is it vomit?
Yeah.
Vomit.
You didn't know that?
I thought it was poop.
No,
Nope.
no.
Oh, they
Didn't
puke it.
know
Oh, that's
either
even
way.
better.
I know, it's the best.
It is. It's awesome.
Now, no one's told them if they ever hear this will ever eat honey again. They'll be like,
No, of
I'm not
course.
eating that.
If children are listening to this podcast, though,
Well, they'll listen
their
with
parents
the-
need to be talked to.
Not at all.
I'm gonna have to say that to my kids. Hey, you know what honey is?
One of my
Beeper.
They're gonna ask what you did last night. You're gonna say I just sat around and drank a bunch of bee puke.
my brother let one of my young nephews listen to this show like a year ago after I'd been on like 1 or 2 times, and he let him listen to it. I said, "Why?"
This is good.
They talked to me the next time. It's like,
entertainment.
"Geez, Uncle Patrick is crazy."
You guys have met my kids. They like listening.
Oh
to the
yeah, I
show.
know.
There you go.
Yours is a little
I agree
older. I
with
mean,
you.
I mean,
Yeah.
my nephew was like 10.
Oh, come on.
We've had people listen to the show and they're like, "Oh, I was listening to it at work." About 20 minutes in, I was like, "Oh shit, where are my headphones? Where are my headphones?"
They just dropped the F-bomb again. Yes.
So, but we're like I said, we're an adult show. We're out here. We're trying to get people to drink
It's an
local, eat
alcohol
local,
show.
be local.
It's awesome.
So so this next one we're getting ready to try. Before we even try it, I smell hops.
Yes, sir.
Oh yeah. Is this the
Variety you ready
Rethinker?
for?
Yeah, the Rethinker.
Okay.
Is it the Rethinker?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
This-
So Rethinker is a dry hopped blueberry mead. So blueberries, honey, Cascade, and Columbus hops.
You pull the hops off the nose like
Yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible. The hops smell amazing in this.
Cool. So this variety originated just as a blueberry mead that we called the Free Thinker. We thought, blueberries are a very floral variety. There are some hop varieties that would complement the blueberry very nicely. So we were like, well, let's throw some hops in there, and
Definitely.
it turned out really well.
It turned out
sneaky.
amazing.
Here again, 6% ABV, pretty easy drinking. It's one of the drier styles that we make, and we wanted to do that just to, really express the hop personality.
And again, there it goes with the not sweet variety. That's why I
No, yeah, it's got a
definitely
nice dry finish.
and the hop flavor is incredible on it. Love it.
It's sneaky.
Yeah, and this is
It
one
fools you a little bit.
Totally.
People who have
Makes you
problems with
rethink
gluten
mead.
or anything like that, but they enjoy hops. This is a good variety for them, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm thinking throwing an actual hop in here as well, just kind of.
There you go, your garnish. Little smash
It's
of
so
garnish.
pretty.
Oh my goodness, it's
good, isn't it, man?
Yeah, man.
What do you think, Griswold? Is it good?
Well, this is actually when we first got here. This is
That's the
actually
first
what I
one you
got.
had. Yeah.
Duh.
Right on.
And I
Nice.
like it.
Cool.
Sweet. Yeah,
He's not mad yet. He doesn't have to punch you for bringing him along.
No, I think he's actually kind of falling in love with mead over here. He's gonna be like, Jordan, let's not go have a beer. Let's go have some mead.
Well, I think some of the mead also, and we were talking about the misconception. Mead gets lumped in with, and it is cider's got a bit of a rough rep that it's still rebuilding off of.
Totally. Yeah.
And so when they're kind of lumped in together, I think the two of them because they're not beer.
Sure.
So you get your beer snobs. They're like, oh, I don't want a cider, and but with the perfection in my mind, the perfection of a lot of other beers like sour beers, tart beers, and all that, it's opened even beer drinkers up to newer stuff and not completely just dismissing it because it says cider on it or beer or mead. Or mead.
Sorry. Yeah, definitely. But I got to tell you, it's the craft beer drinkers that have really been our evangelists. It's been fantastic. Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
And when you come up and you see a glass with these kind of colors in it, before the craft beer boom,
oh yeah,
I would have been like,
What the hell?
nope, that looks like wine.
Is
no
that
thanks.
Mike's hard lemonade?
None of the exactly. Why am I drinking Smirnoff Ice?
Oh God, who gave me a wine cooler? Yeah, no, honey, I totally get it.
Look, Boone's Farm.
After the
Oh
crowd,
God,
after the crowd,
Strawberry Hill.
my head.
oh my God, Boone's Farm, Jesus. But then after the craft beer boom, I drink beers that are this color at times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Sure.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't. The color no longer
Right.
is like a is
Why doesn't it yellow like my Miller? Like
is that
my
Right.
is that a girly drink?
macro product.
Am I supposed to be drinking that?
I think one
Am
of
I
the-
going to look stupid drinking this?
Well, I
You know,
think- and I think
that's
that
really
it's
gone
just
away.
the opposite now. Like when we
Yes.
go to, we do a lot of the beer festivals, and people are like,
Where's the purple
You have the
one?
purple
Yeah,
drink,
where's the
right?
purple
Like,
one?
yes,
Yeah.
I do. Here
Where'd
it is.
you
They're
get
like,
that one
That's
at?
amazing. I'm like,
Which I think is
"No."
awesome because that stigma is so quickly going away.
it's
that-
it's
definitely.
very
that if it's a
refreshing.
colored drink, it's a foofy drink,
And
or it's
as
a girly
a woman,
drink, or
as
whatever
the
they-
only woman with only non-penis person here at the table, it's really nice to see some equality at the table and on in the glass as well. Because as I like to say, and I can say this as the owner, it's like I'll get some big old burly guy coming up to my booth and be like, "I'm not drinking that." I'm like, I lean in, I go, "Your dick won't fall off." And they look at me, I'm like, they look at me, I'm like, "I'm the owner, I can say that."
Clark, is that what they said to you when you came in?
I'm like, I said, give it a try. And then they love it, as you very
Exactly.
fine gentlemen do, and they realize it's not just a girly drink.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I wasn't, but 5-6 years
Yeah.
ago,
Oh.
before the craft beer boom, that was a lot of guys. That's the way we thought.
It was the perception.
Yep,
Absolutely.
we'd be like, I'm not drinking that. It's pink.
Not manly.
Oh,
As,
right,
as I'm
right.
holding up a almost pink colored drink here.
It's beautiful. Yes,
Yeah.
the
So,
Paulding Light.
Paulding Light. Cranberry lime mead. So we use whole cranberries, ferment those with honey, then finish it up with some fresh lime juice.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that's got a little tart to it.
Ooh, I like
It is zingy. And we make a cocktail called the Griswold.
Oh, dear
with
God.
that.
Thank you.
Yes,
He's
there you go.
famous.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
Little tart, little sweet. It's Griswold.
It's a little more sour than the rest of them have been, but not sour to the punch in the face sour type.
Correct.
Yes, it's just the lime.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
lime and
don't
cranberries
do
together.
like, formal sourings like
Right.
like
It's
you-
not
yeah.
no Brett, nothing like that in
No.
it. No kettle souring.
No.
Can you even do that?
You can, yeah.
If
yeah.
we had a separate facility with separate
Well, yeah.
staff,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well,
I'm-
yes, everybody.
I'm petrified.
Death-
Oh, everybody
deathly
is.
afraid.
Everybody's petrified of
Oh
trying
my
that.
God,
It's bad enough when you get a wild yeast strain that ruins something, but if you get Brett,
you are.
holy shit. Yeah, if it gets loose, yeah, you're fucked.
Does anybody do one? I'm just curious on
Me?
what the
Cider. He
sour
wants to
would
try
be
a
like.
Brett.
Oh, dude, it
Couple
would
out
be
there,
delicious.
Yeah, I think maybe Bee Nectar has a program they've started, but I don't know if
I don't
they've
know if they've
released
released
any.
anything yet. Yeah.
So there are a few people
Just
playing
curious
around
how
with
it would taste, because this seems to me like what a sour, would be
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out just in my mind the flavor profile of this because there's no grain in it. So.
It would be
I
so
know
much
what the
fun.
sour is like when there's a grain involved,
Sure.
and
Well,
how
if
you can completely
You
screw
think
it up.
about some of the Belgian
Yeah.
lambics or framboise
yeah.
or things like that. I mean,
Some of those are my favorites.
It's similar to what you would get if you were using fruit.
Right,
yeah.
right.
And I think just if you were just using honey without any fruit, you think about like a goza or something like that would be pretty similar personality.
Which is literally, as far as all the guys on the show go, that's more his style.
Sure.
Sure.
I'm one of the ones that will drink them. Roberto's pretty much anti-sours.
He's an IPA guy though.
Yeah,
on his beers, too.
I'll do IPA
Clark's kind of.
breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Straight up, yeah.
I don't think you're a sour guy either, for the most part.
What'd you just say?
I don't think you're a sour guy.
I call him Clark.
Oh,
What the
sorry,
hell?
Griswold.
Well, Clark, Griswold,
Griswold.
the
Well, we
Griswold
gotta
family. We're going with the family vacation.
How
Yes,
you,
exactly.
How you are, man.
I'm real big on pairings with like drinks and foods, and I'm thinking this with the wings from Redemption.
Ooh.
The hot ones?
Yes.
Fire wings? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be
Oh, the
a
spicy
perfect
food.
pairing.
Well, you
with
guys
that.
do food here too, right?
Nice. We do. Not full kitchen because I leave that to my chef friends who do that for a living. But yeah, we do small plates for sure.
Okay.
Like, meats,
Yeah.
cheeses, and
They have shark
desserty
boards,
things.
man. You didn't see the shark boards
Yes,
on
I
the
saw
menu?
that.
we
We
got
call
shark
them
boards.
shark boards
Nice.
because it's charcuterie.
Because when you drink too much, staying
I like that.
charcuterie is way too
Whoa,
fucking
it's
hard.
not happening. Yeah.
So we just we
Shark
shortened it to
boards.
shark boards. And the places we go regularly, I want a shark board. They know what it is.
yeah,
they
yeah.
just bring it
I
out
love
to us.
it.
I don't
That's
care.
great.
Yeah.
I love it.
So,
That's cool.
But no,
I
that's
think the pairing would be good. Yeah, I'd be interested to try to do that with a meal kind of thing because it's. So is it kind of along the lines of wine, a darker red type mead too, or have you guys done any food pairings or anything like that?
These are
like meals,
these are
like
all
dinners.
meant to be really. Oh yeah, we've done mead dinners and stuff like that with our products totally, and we make them to be very food friendly. Now, as we get through this board and then go to the bottles that are chilling, the barrel aged line, those are a little more standalone. But even though some of those are food friendly, but
Yeah,
they're
you can certainly
again
pair those, yeah.
purposefully meant to be food friendly products for sure.
The nose on this, like.
Oh, this is
we're over here giggling while you guys are
hang on,
talking.
hang on.
Where are we at?
I brought the glass down because I was going to say something earlier,
Do you
and
even
then
know
the
what it
nose
is yet?
hit. And I'm like, wait, what is that? Was that me?
This is the lavender lemonade.
Okay, there it is. I was
Yeah.
like, I know that smell, but it was like
Yeah.
so powerful. I was like, whoa, what the? I mean, that is a strong scent.
Yeah.
The nose on that is heavy.
It is.
Now, I like lavender tea. I haven't tried it yet, so I'm guessing I'm going to love this because I do drink lavender tea. Oh, that just made me sound bad, didn't it?
Whatever. What are you
it's all
talking
right.
about? It's,
During my
We'll make fun of
during
it.
my manly massages, I usually use lavender.
No,
It's very soothing.
it is. It's an absolute aromatherapy.
Lavender and chamomile tea is like the best way to fall asleep.
Totally.
Just saying.
Vodka
Totally,
and Vicodin,
totally.
but that's
There's that as well.
Shine.
So this
Holy
variety,
shit.
we did, I don't know, 5 or 6 new varieties for our 12-year anniversary party. And this was one that we released during that week in August, and people went crazy for it, so we brought it back here a few weeks ago.
I feel like it needs to be a slushy.
we make a slushy. out of
We
that,
do
yeah.
make a slushy with this.
That's
I had
funny.
the pumpkin pie slushy earlier. What's that one made out of? What's the meat
The,
in
ba-
that?
Pumpkin pie.
the base is actually Johnny Chapman hard cider, and then we actually add pumpkin puree and my mulling spices,
Okay.
the spice cider spices.
Yeah, this one I see as a slushy.
Yeah.
I drink that.
That's
all-
funny you
Yeah,
say
that's
that.
one of our
Slush that up
summertime
all
slushies.
summer
Yeah,
long.
Yep.
I kind of wanted to put this in a coffee mug and heat it up in the microwave.
Well,
I think
drink it
hot-
like
do
fucking
that
sake.
too.
Well,
and
no.
hot honey lemonade.
Well, yeah, it's like
There you
well,
go.
no,
That's
if
what I'm
you're
saying.
doing honey, lemon, and water for a sore,
Yep.
sore throat, heat that puppy
Definitely,
up.
That's
definitely.
what I'm thinking. You put this
We
in a
got
coffee
you
mug,
hot
heat
toddy.
it up, and yeah, this would be
Little
phenomenal
spoonful,
before bed.
spoonful of NyQuil in there.
I'm on the opposite side. Man. I'm thinking.
You and the medicines and the alcohol.
I'm
Your
thinking-
poor,
He
your
was
poor
the
heart.
medicines
Oh,
guy.
sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm
Sorry, sorry.
thinking
Woo.
shrimp tacos
Ooh,
with a
nice.
nice salsa and this. Done.
There
That
you go.
sounds
He's our
awesome.
food pairing guy.
That
That's
sounds
what he does.
delicious.
Samanos, man. Go grab some
Nice.
tacos
Oh,
at Samanos.
Samanos.
It usually involves
Yes.
Mexican food. I don't know why, but it does.
Because it's delicious.
Hello, because we're in America now. Speak Spanish.
Amen, brother. I love it. Yes, yes, yes.
Oh yeah, that was good. Yeah, I need that. I need
That's
that
great.
in the
I like
slushy
that.
machine right now.
This
I like
is
it.
so freaking good.
That's a fun.
Thank you. Thanks.
I'm gonna have to get some of this to heat it up at night and drink it.
Well,
like,
no, it
literally.
does. It does taste. I can taste the tea thing. I can taste like it'd be a good almost like a tea.
Sure.
It tastes like
warmed up.
lavender tea with sake in it. That's what it tastes like to me. Like because I love sake too.
That's cool.
So I feel like I could just heat this up and drink it like a sake glass, and I would just get the nice warm and fuzzies and
Definitely.
be ready to go right to sleep.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Warm and fuzzy.
The warm and fuzzies.
The warm and fuzzies.
It's very rare
we're
that I
rolling
like
through.
everything that we tasted.
No doubt.
Now, hang on, there's one
Yeah.
more. You may hate it. So let's just see. Let's find out.
Well, I'll
Don't
get
speak
there.
too soon.
There's already
No, but even usually in because usually we'll try different things. We'll try
Sure,
a
sure.
sour, or we'll try something that's I would never say that anything's bad, just not my cup of vodka.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
yeah.
Right,
So,
right.
But everything I've had so far is pretty legit.
Right on.
Yeah,
Yes.
really
Sweet.
thumbs up.
Glad you enjoy it.
Cool. So this one, last but not least, the Live Currant. It is a black currant mead. It's real big. It's real big. It's real big. It's bright fuchsia.
I like
Delightful.
that.
You like that?
So
Yes.
technically, this is measurably the sweetest
Yeah.
variety that
Oh,
we
yeah.
make.
Yeah.
I can see that right now.
But,
But
it's not.
black-
It's not.
but black
over-
currants are
There's
so
much
acidic.
tartness from the black currants that
Yeah.
it really balances out nicely.
You got to counterweight it.
Yes, because the sugar's not sitting on the back and sides of my
No.
tongue.
Right.
I at least it's almost like when you're drinking an IPA and the hop dries. You got a dry hop on the back end.
Yeah.
So it kind of gives me that same feel.
So I'm going to be fair and say that out of the 6, this is my least favorite, and not in a negative way. It's because it definitely is much, much sweeter
Yes.
than the other
Yeah.
ones, but I do like how that sour kind of kicks in because it does
Right.
cut the sweetness down a little
That's-
bit. I could definitely sip this and have a nice cigar with it,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't be one that I could personally drink all day like I can
Sure,
probably
yeah.
the 5 other
And
ones.
it's not meant to be that black currant. I mean, doesn't allow you to do that. You've got to add so much honey to it to counterweight the high acidity. It's just. That's why I said it's big and it's bold and it's
The
bright
flavor is
fuchsia.
there.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful flavor.
Yeah.
It's just for me again, not being a sweet drinker, that's
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a little over the top sweet. Now there's people that love sweets that be like, holy shit, that's
Oh
my
yeah, they
favorite.
drink it all day
Yeah,
long.
yeah.
Oh
so they
yeah,
go
let me
chug
tell
it
you.
down, but I don't drink soda. I don't drink any of that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
So the flavor's there. I just don't. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
Cool.
Just a little sweet for me.
Yeah.
I like to be fair.
I think the finish is. I don't want this to sound bad in any way, but I think the finish is better than the front. Like the front end, there's something about it that just kind of it rubs me in a different way. But the back end is refreshing,
Right on.
and I can dig
Yeah, yeah.
that. I can dig on that. It's like, it's like as soon as I take it in. Shut up. As soon as I take it in, there's something about it. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then when I finish it, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like it's
I know where you're coming
it's
from.
very
There's something there.
It's
But
like
that
a-
just may be the
It's the s-
aromatics on the currants. for
and
me.
that, and also that we've had 5 other ones that it's messing with my palate a
Sure,
bit.
sure. You can
so-
see why I end with that one.
Yeah,
Yes.
you don't
It's
want
a
because that'll
palate killer.
overpower everything
Yeah.
else.
To me, it was the powerful sweet punch in the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
And the finish of it's where it dries up just a little bit, and you get a little bit more taste and flavor to it. So it's just that initial sweet on the tongue that immediately makes my palate shut down.
And I'm okay
Yes.
with the dryness in the back, or
Right,
the somewhat dryness,
exactly.
because I dig dry wines.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Right on.
so I think that's why the finish to me is a little bit more appealing.
Cool.
So,
Yep. And hope you guys didn't take offense to any of that.
No.
Was-
What? What I tell you? It's booze, for Christ's sake. You enjoy it. You know, you don't like everything. No one likes everything.
I'm
It's,
only
you
going
know.
to take offense if my penis falls off.
Well, then you have some serious medical problems then to do with my alcohol. Then, let me
But we've
tell
been
you.
told by the owner that it's not going to happen.
ladies
so-
and
That's
gentlemen,
right.
Where have you been, man?
New Day Craft swears that as long as you drink their beverages, your penis will not fall off.
There you go.
There you go.
Correct.
Public service announcement.
That's right.
Copyright, Lavender Confession.
Even though their drinks may be pink, it will not make your dink fall off.
I love it. I'm using that.
There you go.
I love it. That makes me happy. So now we've got some ciders on the table. You don't have to drink those, guys. I brought them out
No, that's
just to
fine.
have them.
Give them a shot.
Yeah. And Brett's gonna go grab the some of the barrel aged stuff. That,
So
Ooh.
now, what's the difference in a cider?
Sure. Okay, so mead, as we talked about, by definition, it has to have honey as at least one of the base sources of fermentable sugars, and then with cider, of course, it's apples. Okay. So in our case, these are actual real live apples, no concentrates.
Killed them out in the wild.
Yeah, I did.
Cool. What happened for them?
Totally. But, we laugh, but it's the same thing. A lot of your mass-produced ciders are made from concentrate. It was like Brett likes to say, they reconstitute the apple.
Yeah.
They are, it's concentrate, malic acid, natural flavors, and water. In our case, it's apples. And
I like
only
it. Okay.
apples. So that's, in fact, we probably went backwards. My bad. The one to my right, your whatever, on that end of the board, they put them down backwards. That's the driest one. The first one you get, you have.
Yeah, we started from the sweetest.
Which is fine. Whatever. That's cool. Yeah, you went from Johnny Chapman. They all begin as the Gold Rush, which is that base cider. It's a mixture of, gosh, I don't know how many heirloom apples. So many, lots of heirloom apple varieties. And
That's
then
scientific there, Brett.
It's lots.
it's a lot of
It's a whole
different apple
bunch.
varieties, and we ferment that to complete dryness. There's maybe 0.2% RS left in it.
It's pretty much bone dry.
Yeah, it's like an apple noted champagne. It's really crisp, really dry. Then to make the other ciders, we actually add for South Cider, the second one, add a little bit of the same honey we use in fermentation and the mead making process. And then Johnny Chapman, we add liquid sorghum. Now, again, it's the cane. That's the syrup made from the cane.
Not
so
the
it's
grain.
not the grain.
Okay.
Which is what they use in
Gluten-free beers.
gluten-free beers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Which has a very distinct flavor.
Yes. You like the Johnny Chapman, you're like, it tastes like sorghum. I'm like, yeah, it does.
Yeah, it's very similar to blackstrap molasses.
yeah,
in its raw form.
Yeah.
Yep. So I tried all three because I guess I'm fast at this. So I went from sweetest to lightest. Actually, your sweetest cider was not too sweet for me.
Yeah, it's balanced, well balanced.
And again, I'm the
Yeah.
anti-sugar guy in the group,
Yeah.
so
Sure.
excuse me. I thought they were all very well balanced. Now this one, the first one is very, very dry,
Yes.
which isn't a bad thing for me. I can see where some people be like, "Oh wow, that's that's too dry," almost
It's very
like
austere.
almost like a suck the moisture out of your mouth
Yes.
kind of dry.
Yeah, there's some tannins.
which is
with the
okay.
apples, yeah.
But I like it. I mean, that's great for me. And like I said, even the sweetest one was not too sweet.
Cool.
It was just
Cider, same basic process as the mead? No boil?
no boil, yeah.
Okay, it's all just still
Cold
room
fermentation,
temperature.
yeah.
Okay. Are you cold? Are you cold ferment or just room temperature?
Yeah, so all of our tanks are glycol chilled. So it kind of depends on what we're fermenting
Yeah.
as to
Each one has its own its own
Yeah.
happy place.
I prefer a little bit cooler
I thought-
fermentations.
okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
so more similar to a
65.
lager. Okay, so yes, similar to a
65-ish.
lager.
Yeah.
And you've got to use the right yeast that can handle those
Yeah.
lower
Colder
temperatures
temperatures.
too.
Yeah.
So,
So
yeah.
that's why they struggle using beer yeast, because only a lager yeast. Well, not only a lager yeast, but lager yeast typically are the ones that are used for the colder temperatures.
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of depends on what we're fermenting, and each individual variety is a little bit different
Yeah.
for how we monitor the
Totally.
temperature. So yeah,
Gotcha. Cool.
So how
Yeah,
much
so
you
when we
bet-
did
how
our
much you-
home brewing, we
go
stayed
ahead.
around 70, 72 degrees.
Sure.
That's what we
or
stayed
whatever
at
Jordan's
for
living
ale.
room was at.
So we started putting the beer in my front room to ferment it. My wife hated me during that time
Yeah.
because I didn't give a shit what they felt like. To me, it was like, oh, what temperature is the beer at? Oh, we got to turn the thermostat down or up. She's like, really? Now we're basing our house temperature on your beer? And I'm like,
Yes.
well, yeah. It's fermenting in the house.
Forget the kids.
That's the way
the
it
kids
should
can
be.
put clothes on or think,
first things first,
Yeah.
priorities here.
Exactly. So it was a lot of fun, though. So
What do you guys brew? What do you guys? How much you brewing? I say brewing, but
Capacity
producing.
wise,
Sure, yeah.
yeah, we're
Yeah, it's
we're at
cool.
about 1,000 barrels a year right now.
holy shit,
Yeah,
that's
so-
that's nice.
What's your
30.
capacity for your?
We actually
a
just-
run. You got 30 barrels. a
yeah,
year.
we
for a run, yeah.
typically 30 barrels is kind of where we're at. 2 weeks from today, we're gonna make 60 barrels of Breakfast Magpie in one
One sitting.
swoop.
Yeah, yeah.
Our cider tanks are 90 barrels, so we do those in a little bit larger batches, and then use that cider for a while as we process through it. But Mead's typically, on average, is a 30 barrel batch for us. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Now speaking of Breakfast Magpie,
Yes.
Yep. Well, we're gonna take
good lead in
we're gonna take a break here in a second. Then we're gonna come back with that one.
right now.
Cool.
Cool.
But hold on. Let's see, gentlemen. You didn't talk about ciders.
Yes.
Normally, you're not cider fans, so I want to hear your honest opinion on the ciders here.
The sweet and the second were my favorite of the three. I'm still working on the third. And it almost too dry for me.
Okay.
Like it's just.
I mean, that's fair enough. Whereas something gets too sweet for me, it can be too dry for you. That
that is-
happens.
Sure, totally.
But like you said, that one's your base.
Yeah,
Basically.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the base.
cider,
yeah.
No, I mean, I think the first one, which is probably the sweetest one, I actually like that one because it, for me, doesn't taste like a cider like I've tasted. So I think
Sure.
your process that you're doing, it's above and beyond what I'm used to. So it goes down really smooth on the front, on the back, and overall. And the nose was deceiving on that one as well because I was expecting something totally different. And it was really great finish on that
Right
one.
on.
Nice.
Thanks.
I dig
Thank
that.
you.
Yeah. So,
Griswold?
yeah, I'll say something after he goes.
Yeah,
Go
you
ahead.
had a couple. What do you think? Change your mind a little bit on the ciders from what we're used to? Because we're usually in commercial ciders and all that.
Yeah.
But
I love the taste of all of them,
right.
but for some reason I just
Maybe the
can't
apple
get-
thing?
Can't get behind a cider for some reason.
Maybe it's just
I
the
don't-
apple
I don't-
thing.
I don't know
That's
what
totally
it is.
fine.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Yeah.
Maybe the apple
And-
base.
And
So-
I love
Yeah,
the
it could
taste
be.
out of all of them.
Sure, right
It
on.
just
It's not your thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what-
Trust me, I get it.
my wife gripes all the time about it.
So what I was going to say is, so in the cider world, you know, if you want to compare, like, you can compare like Miller Lite to, I don't know, Strongbow or any Red's Apple Ale or any of those that are the commercially
Angry
brewed
Richard.
ones.
Yeah.
You know, and then you have your craft ciders,
Right.
which are a whole different
It's a
animal.
whole other animal.
Where
Yeah.
these actually have the flavor, you can taste the apple. It's not just sickening sweet, and that's what I like about it. Even if I'm not a cider person, I can respect the fact that these taste amazing for a cider.
I do.
Yeah.
Had Riley brought this,
To
it would have been a totally
backyard.
yeah.
Exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, I would have been
Exactly.
okay with it.
Yeah. So to let you guys know, we had a backyard beer show,
Yes.
and one of the guys we invited, he kept bringing cider. We're like, dude, you don't bring cider to a craft beer show.
But
Unless
we
you're
can
New
change
Day
that.
Craft.
But we can change that now.
That's
Yeah, we can.
right. That's
But you can
right.
bring mead.
That's true.
Can we
I-
say that?
Yes.
You can bring mead
Yes.
to a craft beer show, and you can bring cider as long as it's New Day cider.
There you go.
I can agree with that.
I'm down.
I would be okay.
Yep.
I think everybody can
Booyah.
agree with
I
that
can-
one.
yeah,
See,
I'm
there we
okay
go.
with
So,
Nice.
all right, let's take a quick break, and we'll come back here in just a couple minutes.
Right on.
Pop these guys open. So I wanted.
All right, so we took a quick break, and you know, this show's going to go a little longer than normal, and that's okay. That's okay. Sometimes
Yep.
you
I'm
got to
just
have
worth
the
it.
little bit longer show.
I'm fine with this long
Yes.
show.
Yeah,
I'm totally
you know,
good.
I mean, it
and
just-
and I will still stand by my statement that I haven't had anything that I do not like.
Excellent.
There's something
Right.
that
That's
is
what we like to
totally
hear,
different. You know, I haven't had mead. I honestly, I don't think I've ever had mead. If I have, it was probably after a fifth of vodka. But what I've had so far, great flavors.
Yep.
Very all-around experience because there's nothing that's really kept me down. So I totally dig it. So.
And it's
Yeah.
exciting for us because we come from the craft beer and
Yeah.
craft spirits
Yes.
world, where we're so used to tasting all these different flavors in a beer. And then you get to mead, and it's like, holy shit, there's a whole nother world where we can taste all these different wonderful flavors that are out there.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
exciting.
as much as I'm an IPA guy, I now drink 10 different IPAs, and I can tell the difference between each
Sure,
one.
yeah.
Totally.
You know, with this, it's like it's very new and refreshing, and I hate to put emotion to it, but it's these meads are very happy drinks.
Yes.
Yeah. Right on.
It's
I love
like,
it.
you know, like if
That's
I'm
cool.
drinking a stout, you know, say if I'm drinking, you know, I'll go back to my old school days and I'm drinking Guinness, you know, after a while I just get mad.
Well, you know.
You know, but I'll drink Dragon's Milk now, and then I'm
angry.
like, after 2 Dragon's Milk, I'm like, hey,
That's
I'm
weak.
okay, but I'm still, yeah, I know about you and your Dragon's Milk. But these meads, they're very happy drinks, you know, it's like very like, oh, hey, I could totally have like, that's why I was pairing it with like tacos and this and that, because I'm like, I would totally get a bunch of mead
Yeah.
for one of my cookouts or something and be
Nice.
able
Can
to
you
do
cook
something.
with this?
Sure,
Oh,
absolutely.
totally. Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Abs-
Trying to think.
yeah.
There you
I'm
go.
thinking more fish though. It's
Yes.
gotta be
Yes.
a lighter
Well,
meat.
like the Johnny
you know,
Chapman.
for a marinade.
Johnny Chapman's a great braising liquid for pork, for like pork
Okay.
shoulder. Pork
Well, yeah, I
rinds,
can
for
see that
sure.
more. Yeah, pork.
Yeah,
the not like I can't see like a steak maybe at all. Although I'd use a red wine and a steak. So it depends on these 3 that
Yeah.
we have in front of us. Maybe some
I
of the
was
other earlier
thinking-
ones we had, I wouldn't put those with like a steak or anything as far as a marinade or something.
As a marinade, sure.
But with a
Demi-glaze,
pork,
though.
definitely, yeah, or yeah, any kind of a demi glaze.
I was thinking the Rethinker with a chicken.
Dude, I was thinking
That
the
would work.
exact same
Yeah,
thing.
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
With
Totally
the, with
thinking
the
that.
with the hop flavor and then the sweetness from the blueberry in there,
So that
you
would be
could
a-
really get that chicken skin really
crisp.
good and
Yeah,
flavored
yeah.
and crisp. That would be delicious.
Be the
I'll be
chicken,
the guinea-
chicken thinker.
I'll
The
be
chicken
the,
thinker.
Nice.
I'll be the guinea pig.
And then smoked.
Yeah. Well, you know me and my pellet grill. That's what we do nowadays.
I got a
Yeah.
pit boss. What you
The
got?
chicken thinker smoker.
Pit boss.
Yeah, man.
you guys are assholes. I ain't got crap.
And I have volcano rub at home too, so I can
Oh,
do some
there you go.
volcano rub on
Oh,
it.
you leave
With
leave
the,
your personal life out of
yes.
this.
Whoa.
I see.
For those lonely
Some
nights.
heat.
Nice.
Damn it. God, with friends like you, I don't need enemies.
All right, so you've laid out some bottles coming out,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah,
I see,
so Roberto, he mentioned Dragon's Milk, and
Yes.
that's New Holland Brewing.
Mm-hmm.
We have one variety here that we used. We barrel aged a variety in their Knickerbocker gin barrels. So they have a distilling arm there as part of their brewery.
right.
And so we took Shelby Blue Ribbon, which you tried earlier. We increased the alcohol content quite a bit, up to around 12%.
Is that the strawberry rhubarb one?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And aged it in Knickerbocker's gin barrels. So that's the first variety you're going to try there.
I can actually so when I tried to take a smell of that, it actually came up to the eyes and gave me a little bit of the tearing up, like the eye burn a little
Gin,
bit,
a
which
little
is
bit of-
nice.
There's some warmth there for sure.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
my goodness.
Oh dear Lord!
What?
Hell yeah. I like that.
So here we've moved out of the 6% ABV
Yes, we
category
have.
up into.
So these are this is an example of our barrel age program.
I'm okay with that.
Yes.
I get the
Keep
I get a little bit of the alcohol
I don't,
burn.
I don't think you have any arguments.
More of this, please.
I apologize for the orgasm at the table, but
Dude,
Steph
damn.
can clean it up. It's
That's why
fine.
we put
you're
down the tablecloth.
dude, you're sitting kind of close to me. Why'd you do that? Why?
That's why we always put down a tablecloth.
This was our 12-year anniversary release variety here that we had.
Yeah.
How long
Last
did you age it?
How long did we age that?
God, which one?
I have to think of
Well, sorry, didn't mean to call you out on that
Let's see,
one.
are they on here? 10 months.
Okay.
10 months.
We have every damn barrel age variety has a
It's a
different
little
one.
different. Yeah.
Every
Yeah,
one, and we're
that's
doing
okay.
more and more. It's like, which one is that one again?
It's all right. You ain't doing it wrong on the first one.
this has just enough hint of gin that it just makes me giggle.
Hell yeah.
I love this. I love this.
Amazing.
Right on.
So this is the second year that we've aged in Knickerbocker barrels. The first year we actually had 15-gallon barrels from them. That aged pretty quickly, but this last round we had 53-gallon, the standard
size.
barrel size. And so we did a little bit longer, 10 months for that one.
So how much does a bottle of the barrel aged cost?
That in-house 15.
In 15.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so that's still
Yeah.
a pretty good price.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely in a decent price range for being a barrel aged and a
Well,
quality
for
barrel
a
aged.
10-month barrel
Yes,
age.
for 10
you
months.
get
Right,
barrel- yeah,
exactly.
A lot of them they'll age them for a couple months, on some of the standard beer varieties, and just to get enough of a taste. But no,
Do
hands
you,
down, awesome.
Do you guys distribute outside of here?
We do, yeah. So our main distribution obviously is here at the tasting room in Fountain Square,
Yeah.
but we distribute in the state of Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky.
Now, is that all major liquor stores?
Well,
or
Yeah, you
Yeah.
know, we tend to be in the major metro areas and more of the what you would refer to like the A stores where a lot of the craft beer is sold.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Very nice. I notice I'm not chugging this one because it's too damn good for me to chug it.
Yes.
I chugged it
I-
because I'm going
I-
to take a bottle or two with me home.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
So, yeah.
Oh, thanks, man.
I may be there with you.
Well, just Roberto, just keep them busy. There's a bunch of boxes here along the wall.
Right.
The back door's
Your
right
truck's
here,
right there. Yeah.
I'm done. So I left the top off.
Look over there.
So what amazes me about this? What did you say the percentage is? 12.
It's 12%.
12%.
Yeah.
There's no alcohol burn on this.
You had
No,
if you had
yeah.
a 12% craft age for 10 months, it hurt.
Yes.
Well,
Very
and
much.
That's again,
It would
that's that
hurt.
same tentative balance. We really work to have a very well balanced product, even to the real high ABVs.
You guys balance in an extraordinary way because doing this for years now, a 12% alcohol beverage, usually you at least get the slight cough in the back of your
Yeah.
throat.
Sure, yeah.
But you don't get that here. You taste it, but it doesn't hurt.
Anything above like 10, you start to. It's chewy.
Yeah.
It's either super sweet.
Yeah,
you
right,
get-
Yeah.
It's a chewy beer.
It's super sweet, or you feel like you swallowed acid.
yeah.
It's usually one or the
Yeah.
other,
This-
and it's rare to find that really good balanced product. And there are some beers out there that are about that balanced too, but it's kind of rare. Normally it's
Yeah.
one way or the other, and this one is right
Cool.
there. It's
Clark?
just
Yeah,
so
glad you enjoy
balanced.
it, yeah.
What'd you
If
have
you-
on that?
If you don't pay, I love it. This is something that if you don't pay attention
Oh,
how
dude,
much you
get
drink,
fucked
Yeah, it's
up.
you
dangerous.
it will whoop your ass.
Oh
in a
my
heartbeat.
God.
Yeah,
I've seen it happen.
That's
we
why-
actually in-house when we limit
to,
all these to
yeah.
2
Yes.
snifters.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Oh,
you do
2
what you,
snifters a night,
You
yeah.
do what you want at home,
Yes.
but honey, when you're in here,
Yeah.
Yes.
I got licenses
cover
and
yourself.
safety to protect. I got people to protect. You got
Yeah, essentially,
Yeah.
essentially a half-liter bottle is like, it's 2/3 of a bottle of wine.
I
so
mean,
you,
think about it.
So since
be careful.
So since you're not brewing on site at the place here, you guys are still stuck, unfortunately, on the Sunday law. You can't
Nope.
take it.
No,
you can come in
actually-
and drink, but you can't take any
Oh,
out.
No,
yes, you
actually,
can.
we're a winery,
We're a
farm
winery, it's
winery.
different.
You can carry out
Yeah.
on Sunday.
Even if you're not
Nice.
brewing on, even if the
Correct,
tap room's
yeah.
not
they don't
on
brew.
site.
They have
We
they're a
don't.
Well, right,
winery.
well, no, I
so
understand that, but usually the facilities have to. The tasting
Dude,
room.
all the laws.
Like, if
for
it's- if
everybody-
it's-
everything's
not
different.
wineries.
Okay, and I didn't know that. Like I
Everything's
said, craft
different.
beer.
Yeah.
You have to. The
Oh, no.
facility has to be. The tap room has to be at the brewing facility if you want to carry anything
Yes,
out on a Sunday.
You're right, but wineries don't. Wineries can
Right,
have
it's
offshoot
totally
sites
different.
three,
Yeah.
yeah.
that can
This
sell
is-
on
this
Sundays.
is, yeah, this is a satellite.
Then I'm glad I brought it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
oh, we can
So you
have a
can come
whole
here on
episode
Sunday.
about
We might-
laws
Yeah.
being
Sunday trip.
different for different licenses.
But
Oh,
that
yeah.
means those of you listening, you can come here on Sunday and get it too.
So how much does a growler run here? On average,
It
I know
varies.
that- yeah,
varies price
course.
wise, but
So yeah, and we do 32 ounce growlers because specialty beverages.
Yeah.
So they range anywhere, as you can see on here, from 14. For what we have on right now, 14 to 17. For like the gin, the barrel aged stuff. Normally we don't growler
in bottles,
yeah,
right?
It's in
Only.
bottles or in
Yep.
glasses. Yeah.
So
You don't often get to take a growler of Dragon's Milk home.
Yeah.
But that would
That'd
be
be
okay.
cool.
But that would be okay.
It would be super cool.
Griswold has done that at the bar after a setting.
Hey, we've been over this time and time again.
He didn't know
If-
better.
If they were stupid enough to only charge $3.50,
they had no clue.
They didn't know
Oh,
what they
yeah.
were doing.
It was a little tiny town where he lives,
Oh
and they
my
got Dragon's Milk, and
goodness.
they were selling it for $3.50 a pint.
Which-
He's like, I had
I
to drink
lost-
the shit out of it. And I'm like,
I
yeah, you
lost
did.
count at 7.
Oh Lord.
Which
You were a
is-
man with a
someone
liver.
didn't calculate out the barrel to pint ratio on and their profit margin.
I went in another time.
Oh, my
I go, hey, you got any more? He goes, dude, I'm not getting that back. I go, why? Well, you kind of screwed us on that one.
It's not your fault.
I go, well,
You sold it for
dumbass.
$3.50.
Price it accordingly, and you'll be just fine.
It was just $3.50.
Yep.
So all of us as craft drinkers, and we'll say craft drinkers in general,
Yep.
we never go out and expect to pay less than
Yeah.
less
About
than
4
5
to
to 6
5.
bucks
Yeah.
Yep.
for a craft beer. Ever.
Yeah.
We just don't expect to.
Now you guys
$4.50.
understand why I drank the shit out of it.
Yes.
Sure,
Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah. My God.
If I walked in that Dragon's Milk for $3.50, I'd be like, and this is where I'm staying for the rest of the night.
You'd be calling everybody, hey,
I would, yeah.
come over
The
here.
good thing was I live less than a quarter of a block away from the bar.
Perfect.
Stumbling.
I was just
Nice.
stumbling.
He was a
stumbling,
little-
back and
stumbling.
He was a little rough the next day at work, but other than that, he was good.
I hated myself.
Oh God. I bet.
I came in, I'm like,
Woof.
dude, you look like hell.
And I go, I feel like hell. But it was worth it.
What's
All right,
next?
let's
on
move
that?
on to the
next
next
variety
one.
is actually a cider, but it's a bourbon barrel aged cider.
I don't care. I like the smell already.
So bourbon barrel aged Johnny Chapman. We say 6 months on the label for this one, but that's just to accommodate the youngest barrels that we aged with this one. A lot of different barrels: Woodford Reserve, Heaven Hill. I think there was a Jim Beam barrel, Angel's Envy.
Did you mix them together, or
They are,
oh, okay?
yeah,
so you
yeah.
okay? You didn't just do
all,
like
all
a
blended together.
Angels Envy one and then a separate, and then keep them separate.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were all blended together, and then this one also has blackstrap molasses in it. So
So you sweetened it up a little bit more, didn't you?
Yeah.
definitely,
This,
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely,
Yeah.
Okay. I was waiting to hear something because I thought
Oh yeah.
this
yeah,
one
yeah,
tastes
yeah.
way sweeter
Yeah, it
even
is.
than the other one did.
And it's always a challenge on these flights is of the last two which ones to do first. I opt because the last one has coffee to do that one last. But yeah, so this one is actually sweeter.
I love
yeah.
coffee.
So
I like.
this
A
is
little
also
too, little too sweet for me.
It's
also
a sweetie, yeah, for sure.
12% ABV on
Yeah,
this one
yeah,
as
yeah.
well.
I don't get the alcohol out of it, but I do. For
nose,
me,
the nose is there.
for me, the sweetness is there. I do taste the bourbon though. I mean, I get the bourbon flavor out of it.
It's for me. It's a sipper. It's a little sipper.
Every time
For sure.
I have a sweet one like this, to me again, it goes back to a cigar and a campfire.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what this is.
That'd be
Again,
nice.
this is a campfire beer for me.
Now,
Or-
traditionally, like, sorry, go ahead, Clark.
Or maybe not a cigar, maybe other things.
What?
Well,
A
think
pipe?
about it.
Well, yes.
Could be a
Clove
yeah.
cigarettes?
Yeah, that's it.
What are you talking about?
Wacky tobacco.
A left-handed,
I was gonna say I
a
only do
left-handed
cigarettes and
cigarette.
cigars, so I'm allergic to that shit. I'm not gonna find me doing that.
Well, I'm
one.
just talking about me and everybody else.
Oh, sorry.
So, in craft beer world, you have some beers that are better at a room temperature, and others that are ice cold. I know. When we walked in, you went and threw all these in the freezer. Are there any of these that, other than like the lemon one we had, which I think would be really good warm?
Yeah, these
Um,
the barrel age lineup here, I prefer a little warmer.
A little warmer.
Yeah.
A little warmer, okay.
Not
Yeah.
room temp per se, but this one might have gotten a little too cold, actually. Yeah.
Well, no,
We
that's
left
what I'm
that
saying.
in the
I think
freezer a little too long.
this one
Yeah,
warmed
yeah.
up a little bit,
Yeah,
it'd
you
be-
want that
you'd,
one to be a little warmer.
You'd get more nose, obviously, because
More
you usually
bourbon.
get that. Maybe a little more bourbon, and the sweetness wouldn't be as
It's pronounced.
forward,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
on
Yeah,
everything.
definitely.
so.
Room
That one
temperature.
opens up
Well,
really
that's
nice.
I wasn't sure about ciders and meads. On do they have that same kind of thing where some of them are a little better, not
Oh,
or are they
totally,
all? Because normally
totally.
whenever I drank a cider, it's I need it ice cold because I'm just trying to get it down.
Yes.
And these are all the macro ciders,
Yeah,
you know,
of
that
course,
you're just
of course,
trying to
yeah.
get down,
Like a bud,
because
yeah,
that's all that was
absolutely.
there.
You wouldn't have a slightly warmer Bud Light.
No.
Disgusting. Yeah, same thing. You want it to be ice cold. Just depends on the beverage.
Well, any
yeah.
macro beverage has to be like
Yeah.
Nowadays, yeah,
damn near
nowadays,
frozen
yeah.
for you to be able to
Yeah,
tolerate
yeah.
it. After you've
No.
worked to
Other than like a
craft beer
Guinness,
scene,
I mean, Guinness is a macro for me,
Sure,
but I
sure,
can still
sure.
drink a Guinness with no problems.
Right.
You know, I'm actually kind of curious because I'm kind of thinking, you know, because normally I would have my Guinness. I do a Guinness in Strongbow. Normally, I don't do Guinness in Harp. Like if I'm doing a snake bite.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I'm particular to Strongbow only. I've tried the others, macro ciders that they usually have at the bar, and just no good. I'm kind of curious what some mixtures with some beers would be on these half and
Pretty
halves.
delicious.
Have you guys done any of those? Have you
People
tried,
have.
you know,
Little bit, yeah,
tweaked any of
yeah.
those? I know you guys say you do a lot of. You've got cocktails in here too,
Yeah,
right?
we, as far as in-house, it's another fun thing about Indiana law. We, with our permit, cannot have other alcohols on premise, let alone on tap. We
Okay.
cannot sell any. Like all our friends in the beer world have us on tap. It's awesome. Or sell us by the bottle.
But you can't
I
do
can't
theirs.
reciprocate until maybe someday Indiana's Congress will change that law to make it the same as our brewery brethren. That would be fantastic.
So what are your
I doubt it.
cocktails then?
They there are our alcohol is a base, and then we do in-house simple syrups.
Oh, okay.
We bring in different bitters. And
You're not
juices
throwing
and
vodkas
things.
and gins in there.
No.
Okay.
I wish I could. But no, we're not allowed to do that.
Team up with Mogul. What am I? Oh my goodness!
Yes.
Have you guys
Imagine
had
that.
Mogul stuff?
Mogul Distillery.
Oh.
I
goodness.
haven't tried.
Their gin
And
is
vodka.
big.
And their vodka is amazing.
I'm not a vodka or gin drinker.
I'm
It
on
is
I
the
could drink
cleanest
both.
vodka
Awesome.
I have ever.
Nice.
I don't drink vodka straight, and that one you can sip their vodka. It is so.
Very nice.
They're all
clean.
scientific
Very nice.
too. I mean,
I'm
they,
on my
they spent a
third
couple
bottle.
years.
They're very similar to you guys,
Shut up.
except
Kidding me?
Since
in
our last
the
podcast.
In the
I see
distillery
how you
world.
are.
yes,
Yeah, right now.
absolutely.
Don't
They're
bullshit.
very specific about how they do. They're oh my god.
We had two
Nice.
conversations going. Roberto's on his third bottle of Mogul.
Since our podcast,
Are you really?
I am.
It's that good,
It is
dude.
great.
That was
Yes,
last
vodka.
week too. By
It
the
is
way.
Excellent.
one of the best vodkas and gins I've ever had in my life.
That podcast was last week too.
Nice.
No, just kidding. No, it was a couple months ago.
Nice.
Where are we at? All right, so we're coming up
last
to
but
the
not least,
biggie, I guess.
Yeah, this is
heard
Imperial
coffee.
Imperial Breakfast Magpie.
Hey,
So
anything that makes it acceptable to drink in the morning,
Exactly.
or at least
Yeah,
makes it.
yeah.
Hey, what? I just had a breakfast
That's
magpie.
right.
There you
That's
go.
right.
You pull so much coffee off the nose on this thing. Oh my
That's
god!
amazing.
I kept looking at
nose.
him, waiting for him to smell it because he's a coffee guy too. I'm like, dude.
So I'm assuming a little
Dude.
more room temperature to this.
Definitely,
Yeah.
yeah,
Again,
yeah.
Too.
this-
So yeah, warm up your glass a
we
little,
We
Jordan.
overchilled those bad
Yeah.
boys. Sorry about that.
Oh no! I'm just saying I'm warming it up like I would a whiskey glass
Yeah,
or something.
yeah.
You know, you're sitting
Yeah,
there going.
definitely.
You're
So
not trying to start a fire, Jordan.
This variety
I'm
is
gently caressing.
Imperial Breakfast Magpie. So it's a black raspberry mead, aged in bourbon barrels, and then infused with espresso from Bee Coffee Roasters.
Oh, we know them. Good people.
Yeah, it's 13.6% ABV. This is last year's release that you're trying, released a year ago. It's definitely our cult favorite. People line up for this one on the release date.
Which tell them when it is, Brett.
Yeah, so Black Friday is the release every year, which is next week.
November 24th, everyone. The doors open at noon, but the line usually starts between 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.
It's Tex-Mex's birthday.
Not if we steal all your boxes right here.
Oh, this is some of the gin barrel, Shelby. The Imperial actually.
It says Imperial on it.
Oh, those are candles. Those are candles.
I'm reading the box. It says Imperial. I'm like, what are you talking about?
I don't even know if I have words for this.
I'm at a loss. Different. Like I don't know what to say.
Said
black raspberries, honey, and infused with espresso, aged 14 months in Angel's Envy bourbon barrels.
It's like a chocolate. I know there's not chocolate in there, but I'm getting
you get a chocolate
chocolate
for sure.
black covered like raspberry.
Yep.
It's like the happiest feeling I've ever had in my mouth.
It tastes like a blackberry pie.
Cowboys don't be jealous.
I got a whole bunch of flavors going to me. It's like blackberry pie.
There are a lot of layers.
This is a very
there.
complex one. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
It's spectacular. It's
not
got the tart of the currant that you guys had on that other one, but it's in that same field for me. But
sure,
wow,
it is sipper.
It is sweet, but
it's a sipper. It is a sipper.
But the sweetness in this one does not bother me at all. Because there's so much flavor in there, and then you get the bourbon that kind of helps, I don't want to say dry it out, but it gives you a little bit of the alcohol in there, and then it has a nice crisp finish to it. So although I get the sweetness on my tongue in the beginning, it finishes up so clean that I'm not bothered at all by the sweetness of it. Not in the least.
Cool.
I think it all levels out.
Awesome.
You can taste everything. And honestly, out of everything I've tried tonight, I've liked it all. This is my favorite.
Cool.
This is a mead, not a. This is
it's a mead. Yep.
This might.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. No, I'm speechless on that one. Well, a little bit.
With a black Angus fillet.
There.
Yes.
There you
Oh
go.
my
There's your
That's
steak.
that's a red meat one
Right there.
Right there. That's a red meat pairing right there. You have to because you need to balance. Yeah. That would overpower any fish or any pork or anything.
Yeah.
So that's a red meat.
Are you saying you like it there, Roberto?
Nah,
He's-
sucks.
I think I see a tear. Maybe.
He's crying a little bit.
I was not expecting that.
No.
I really was. And not to impugn on anything that's going on here. This has so much flavor. I would expect this in a Vegas lounge.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, because when I go to Vegas and my tab is more than my suite
Nice.
Sure.
for the week,
Yeah. Nice.
I'm drinking high end stuff, and this is amazing.
Thank you.
Like,
Thanks.
oh my goodness, seriously, like, and this is no bullshit. Like, I can say that I will totally stand behind this. This is freaking amazing.
Right on.
Cool.
So how much is this per bottle? It's more than the 15, I'm assuming.
That one
Yeah.
is 18. 18.
That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well worth it.
Yeah.
Well
that's-
worth it.
That's actually very reasonably priced.
Or whatever you put it up for on eBay after it's all out of the bottles and you got it.
Well,
Actually,
there's-
it has a pretty brisk trading second life for sure. Yeah.
So, like keep time on meads and ciders. You said this was last year's release.
Yeah.
So keeps good chilled or keeps good unchilled.
Yeah.
You got to keep it
cellar temp. Yeah.
Okay, cellar
Yeah.
temp. Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess once you chill it, you really don't want to let you're not going to want to let it get up if you're not going to drink it because then you're just going to skunk it.
Yeah.
And that's just like
Okay.
with anything.
This one's
yeah.
been.
And you know what? We had this conversation a while back. Is like, would you ever keep a craft beer for a long length of time?
Right, it depends on some of them.
This is something I would probably consider actually buying a little bit and keeping it aside and be like, you know what? I'm going to enjoy this when
break
I
it out.
How do meads
Yeah,
do
people
more
definitely
age?
do
Break
that.
it out on
Yeah.
special
Especially
occasions.
the
Do they like because they're like wine?
Yeah.
You can age wine can get better with age, whereas a lot of beers don't.
No.
Yeah.
They make
these-
a lot of cellarable beers now, though.
Yeah.
They do
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, these higher alcohol varieties that we make, I think they can age 5 to 7 years, no problem.
Got a couple of bottles sitting in the back.
Yeah,
You're going to
for
keep
sure.
for another day
Yeah.
in your storage.
For sure, yeah. And the more sessionable varieties, the 6%, I would treat those more like a craft beer. Maybe not on the 30 to 60 day range,
no,
but
they hold
6
up a
months
lot
to a
longer.
year in the
A
bottle
lot
for sure.
longer, yeah.
But I wouldn't go out any longer than that for those.
Awesome.
So is there a limit if they show up on Black Friday? Is there a limit to how many bottles they can buy?
1 case.
How many bottles are in a case?
Which is
12
12 or
bottles.
12.
bottles, yeah.
Damn.
Roberto,
Okay.
what are you doing on Black Friday?
Damn. That's a case of wine
Working
style.
from
A case
home,
of
but,
beer usually is 6.
Let me know.
Maybe
Yeah.
12.
Roberto, if you can come down for Black Friday, we're all giving you money and you're
Yes.
picking us up some.
Done.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to tell him to get me some. I'm not going to give him any money.
Apparently, you're buying
Well,
pads for him.
we will be nice enough and give you money.
We have Long's Donuts for everyone out in the line.
There you go.
So,
All right.
yeah, we hook people
I
up
might have
beforehand.
He might have to.
I might have to skip work and just go ahead and come down with you.
So if we send him with a note that says he's buying for us, can we get away with that?
Nope. 1 case for physical person. Bring
Bring
as
a
many
mule.
bodies
Bring a
you want to
mule, yeah.
in,
I'll
but
bring my 11-year-old.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, no.
Hey, you said bodies.
Said bodies.
21 or
21
over
year old.
bodies.
Well, that's 12. You can buy a case. We can all get like 3 bottles off that. That's cool.
How old is Shanna?
He's barely 21.
Who? Shannon?
Hunter.
Hunter? He's barely 21, right?
He might come down with you. You might be able to talk him into it.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I do too. But
We're
try.
plotting. We're plotting. Don't worry.
We are.
Right
We're
on.
scheming.
Scheming.
All right, guys. Well, we are unfortunately about out of time on the show, but we want to again say thank you so much for having us here.
Yeah, we
Thank
It's
you.
been an awesome
Changing
show.
perceptions. And we've been doing this long enough. We're trying to be the ambassadors of craft beer to change other people's minds just to get them into craft
Absolutely.
beer. It's kind of different
Yes.
for us to have our minds changed. Because I'll
Yep.
admit it, I think we said, I came into it a little skeptical because normally ciders and mead, ciders at least, mead not familiar
Sure.
with. But ciders have a bad rep and probably legitimately slow for, legitimate rep for some of the crap that's actually out there, in the macro world.
Totally.
So it gets a bad
I don't
image,
have
but
to hit- I don't
thank
have
you
to
for
hit
changing my mind. I'm
Absolutely.
happy on the meads
Yes,
and the
very
ciders.
happy.
And he didn't punch me, so apparently
You're good.
It
You're
even
good to
went
go,
well
man.
for him. And again, we told you guys we're going to have our charity event on December 7th. Love for you guys to attend
Yeah.
that.
Cool.
Awesome.
Come out, meet our fans, hang out with us. We'll have a great time. We'll get to drink with you, hang out.
We'll introduce you to the
you guys would
management at
have a
Alley's.
real
Maybe you
good
can,
time.
Right on.
Sounds
cool.
like a fun time.
Real good
Yeah,
time.
maybe we can get you into Alley's Ale House because we'd love to have you guys closer to home where we can
Yes.
Yes.
get to the mead
Awesome. We can work
easier.
on that
So,
for sure.
all right. Well, thanks
Yeah.
again for having
Thank
us.
you guys.
Everybody
Thank you
have a
guys
great
so
night.
much.
Opportunity. Yeah, we enjoyed it.
All right. Thank
Rock
you.
on.
Cheers.
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 There's a place called a gin mill way down in the slums. There's a place called a gin mill way down in the slums. My baby goes that night and stays till the morning comes.